Most men have no idea what really happens when they step away from a woman's life. They think she either moves on instantly or sits around waiting for them. Wrong. Women are emotional creatures, and your absence doesn't just go unnoticed, it triggers a reaction. And whether that reaction works in your favor or against you depends entirely on how you handle yourself. Welcome back to Man of Substance, where we focus on making you sharper, stronger, and more in control of your life. Today, we're diving into what a woman actually feels when you're not around, and why your absence is often more powerful than your presence. This is where most men fail. They don't understand that distance is a tool. They either overdo it, ghosting a woman completely and making her forget about them, or they check in too soon, ruining the effect. But when used correctly, your absence creates mystery, desire, and even obsession. Here's the thing. When a woman is used to your presence, she gets comfortable. She assumes she has you, and that's when she starts pulling back. But take yourself away, and suddenly, she's forced to deal with the void you left. The mind starts questioning, emotions kick in, and before she knows it, she's wondering about you more than she expected. So, what exactly happens in her head? What emotions does she go through when you're gone? And how can you make sure that when she thinks about you, it only deepens her attachment? Stick around, because I'm about to break it all down. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that my exclusive online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course goes deeper, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. We just completed section 4 in the course, and these insights aren't shared anywhere else. It's easy to access with multiple secure payment options. There are only 5 discounted slots remaining using the promo code. Visit stoicapproachtolifepodia.com or check the link in the description to enroll now before the offer is gone. 1. She feels relieved if you were overbearing. Most men assume that when they leave a woman's life, she'll instantly feel their absence like a deep void. But the truth is, if you were overbearing, your absence doesn't create longing, it brings relief. Instead of feeling lost without you, she feels like a weight has been lifted, and that's the last thing you want. A woman values her emotional space. If you were constantly texting, always checking in, or needing validation from her, you weren't making her feel connected. You were making her feel trapped. A relationship should add excitement and passion to a woman's life, not feel like another obligation. If you made yourself too available, too predictable, or too dependent on her attention, the moment you step away, she doesn't feel pain. She feels freedom. Attraction thrives in space. When a man overinvests emotionally, constantly seeks reassurance, or acts as if his happiness depends on her, he forces a woman into a position where she has to pull away. She may not even realize it at first, but the pressure slowly builds. She starts responding less enthusiastically. She makes excuses not to see him as often. She begins prioritizing other things, not necessarily because she doesn't like him, but because he's taken away the natural chase that keeps attraction alive. Now, let's put this into a real situation. A man meets a woman and becomes infatuated. He showers her with attention, compliments, and constant messages. At first, she enjoys the validation. It's flattering. But soon, she starts feeling emotionally suffocated. She can't go a few hours without him checking in. He asks where she is, who she's with, and why she hasn't responded yet. He thinks he's showing care, but in reality, he's smothering her. Then suddenly he disappears, whether by choice or because she decides to end things. And here's the painful reality. Instead of missing him, she feels a sense of relief. The pressure is gone. She sleeps better. She enjoys conversations with other people more. She doesn't feel obligated to explain her every move. Not because she never liked him, but because he made himself a burden rather than a source of excitement. This is why balance is key. If a man doesn't give a woman room to miss him, his absence won't be felt as a loss. It will be a welcomed escape. The men women truly miss are the ones who bring value, not pressure. When you know how to maintain your space, when you're a man of purpose rather than emotional neediness, your absence doesn't bring relief. It creates curiosity, desire, and longing. 2. She feels nothing if you had no impact. One of the hardest truths a man can face is realizing that his absence means absolutely nothing to a woman. Not pain, not longing, just emptiness. And if that's the case, it means one thing: you left no impact. Men like to believe that every woman they date or pursue will think about them once they're gone. But the reality is, most men blend into the background. If you weren't a source of strong emotions, whether good or bad, then your absence is no different from a stranger walking out of a room. A woman only misses what made her feel something. If she felt no excitement, no challenge, no deep emotional connection, then when you disappear, it's as if you never existed in the first place. A woman remembers the men who stirred something inside her. But if your presence in her life was weak, predictable, or forgettable, she won't suddenly start thinking about you just because you're gone. That's why being overly nice, always agreeable, and lacking a sense of mystery is one of the worst things a man can do in a relationship. It makes you safe, but it doesn't make you unforgettable. Here's a scenario to break this down. A man meets a woman and plays it too safe. He never challenges her, never gives her space to wonder about him, and never makes her feel anything beyond surface-level comfort. He texts her every day at the same time, never disagrees with her, and avoids any tension or emotional depth. She doesn't dislike him, but she doesn't crave him either. Then one day, he stops messaging her. Does she feel sad? No. Does she wonder where he went? Not really. He didn't create a strong enough presence in her life to be missed. There was no excitement, no emotional highs and lows, just routine. She may briefly notice his absence, but it won't take long before someone else, something else, fills that space. This is why it's not enough just to be present in a woman's life. You have to make an impact. A man who knows how to spark emotions, build attraction, and challenge a woman's mind will always be remembered. But the man who plays it too safe, too predictable, and too unoriginal will fade away without a trace. If a woman feels nothing when you leave, the problem isn't your absence. It's the forgettable presence you had in the first place. 3. She starts remembering the best moments. Here's where things start to shift. If you left an impact, if you made her feel something real, then your absence won't go unnoticed. At first, she might not react. She might go about her life as if nothing changed. But as time passes, something interesting happens. She starts remembering the best moments. That one conversation where you made her laugh until her stomach hurt. That time you pulled her in close, looked her in the eyes, and made her feel like the only woman in the world. The way you challenged her, made her think, made her feel excitement just by being around you. Those moments don't just vanish. They stay in her mind, replaying when she least expects it. It usually happens when she's alone, when there's no noise, no distractions. Maybe she's driving, lying in bed, or scrolling through her phone late at night. And suddenly, a memory hits her. A wave of nostalgia. She starts realizing how good those moments actually were. And the most powerful part? Her mind filters out the bad parts and magnifies the good ones. At first, she doesn't give it much thought. It's just a passing memory, a brief reminder of something familiar. But then it happens again. A song plays that reminds her of you. A place she used to go with you suddenly brings back a flood of emotions. She catches herself smiling at a memory before quickly shaking it off. That's when it starts, the process of remembering you in a different way. Women are emotional creatures. They don't just remember facts, they remember feelings. And if you were the man who gave her those highs, those emotions don't just disappear. The more time passes, the more valuable those moments become in her mind. It's human nature to look back at the past with a sense of longing, especially when what's in front of us doesn't compare. She might try to brush it off, telling herself that she's over it. But deep down, the memories are there, growing stronger, and once they take hold, they create a powerful effect. Curiosity. She starts questioning if she made the right decision. If her current life doesn't give her the same emotional highs, those memories of you become even stronger. But this only happens if you gave her something worth remembering. If you were just another guy, another generic experience, there's nothing to miss. But if you left a mark, if you brought excitement, mystery, and unforgettable energy, those memories will pull her back in, whether she admits it or not. 4. She starts wondering where you are. At first, she doesn't think much about your absence. Life moves forward. Distractions keep her occupied, and she might even feel a sense of relief. But as time passes, an interesting shift happens. She starts wondering where you are and what you're doing. It's not immediate, and it's not always obvious. But once it starts, it doesn't stop. It usually begins in the quiet moments. When she's alone with her thoughts, when there's no one around to keep her mind busy. Maybe she's scrolling through her phone and sees something that reminds her of you. Maybe she's walking past a place you both used to visit. At first, she dismisses it as nothing, but then it happens again. The little reminders start adding up, and suddenly she realizes that she hasn't thought about you in a while, but now she can't stop. She starts wondering what you're doing. Are you missing her, or have you moved on? Are you thinking about her the way she's thinking about you? And more importantly, are you with someone else? These questions don't always lead to action, but they plant a seed of curiosity that only grows stronger over time. Women are emotional thinkers. When they don't have all the answers, they start filling in the blanks. This is where mystery becomes your greatest asset. If she has easy access to your life, if she can check your social media and see exactly what you're up to, then the curiosity fades. But if she doesn't know what's happening, if there's a void of information, she has no choice but to imagine. And in most cases, what she imagines is far more powerful than the truth. She might find herself casually checking your profiles, looking for clues, even if she told herself she wouldn't. And if she sees you thriving, if she sees you moving forward without hesitation, that curiosity turns into something stronger. She starts questioning whether she made the right decision. She starts wondering if she was too quick to assume that losing you wouldn't matter. Women don't just feel loss instantly. It creeps in, slowly, as they start realizing what they no longer have. And once a woman begins wondering about you, where you are, who you're with, and why you haven't reached out, it's only a matter of time before those thoughts start turning into emotions. 5. She misses the attention you gave her. A woman may not realize it at first, but the absence of a man who once gave her attention leaves a void she can't ignore for long. It's easy to assume she doesn't care, especially if she seems unaffected after you step back. But here's the truth. Attention is addictive, and once a woman gets used to a certain level of energy from a man, she notices when it's gone. She might not have even appreciated it when she had it. Maybe she took it for granted, assuming your calls, compliments, and efforts would always be there. But once that attention disappears, the silence feels unfamiliar. She scrolls through her phone, expecting a message that never comes. She opens her social media, half expecting to see your name pop up. And when it doesn't, that's when the realization starts creeping in. Women thrive on validation, especially from a man who made them feel special. It's not always about love. It's about the emotional high that comes from knowing someone desires her, wants her, and prioritizes her. When that's suddenly taken away, it leaves a noticeable gap. She starts comparing how she felt when you were in her life to how she feels now. And more often than not, she'll notice that something is missing. Take this scenario. A woman dates a man who always made an effort, texting her first, planning dates, giving her compliments. At the time, she didn't think much of it. It was just part of the routine. Then, for whatever reason, the relationship ends, or he simply stops chasing. At first, she enjoys the space, but as days turn into weeks, she starts noticing a shift. Other guys might give her attention, but it doesn't feel the same. The consistency, the way he made her feel effortlessly important, it's gone. She starts checking her messages, thinking back to the times he reached out first. And without even realizing it, she starts craving that feeling again. This is why stepping back is so powerful. Women don't miss men simply because they were around. They miss how those men made them feel. And once she realizes that no one else is giving her that same kind of attention, the absence becomes undeniable. It lingers in the back of her mind, and no matter how much she tries to brush it off, she starts wondering, why do I miss it? Why do I miss him? 6. She realizes your value too late. Women don't always recognize a good man when they have him. It's not because they're blind. It's because they assume he'll always be there. When a man gives too much, asks for nothing in return, and constantly proves his worth, she starts seeing his effort as normal. She doesn't stop to appreciate it because in her mind, it's just the way things are. That is, until he's gone. This is when reality hits. When the calls stop, when the messages don't come, when the energy that once revolved around her suddenly disappears. This is when she starts realizing she lost something valuable. And the worst part? By the time she sees it clearly, it's often too late. At first, she might not even admit it to herself. She'll tell herself she's fine, that life goes on. But then, little by little, she starts noticing the difference. The small things stand out the most. The way you used to check on her, the attention you gave her, the way you made her feel important. She looks around and realizes no one else is treating her the same way. She thought she could replace you easily, but something feels off. The new guys aren't as thoughtful. They don't bring the same energy. And that's when she realizes, you weren't just another man. You were different. Men need to wake up to this pattern. Too many guys pour themselves into a woman, hoping that one day she'll appreciate them. They believe that if they just give a little more, she'll finally see their worth. But that's not how attraction works. A woman doesn't value a man who gives everything too easily. She values a man she had to earn. A man who has standards, who expects effort in return, who doesn't allow himself to be taken for granted. If you've ever felt like a woman only appreciated you after you walked away, it's because she never had a reason to reflect while you were still there. Your presence was a constant, and people don't question what they think will never change. It's only when the absence is real, when she looks around and realizes no one else treats her the way you did, that she starts putting the pieces together. But here's where men often fail. They take her sudden realization as a sign to go back. They think, now she understands, now she'll treat me differently. Wrong. If it took your absence for her to see your worth, then she never truly valued you in the first place. She valued the comfort you gave her. The best response isn't to wait for her realization. It's to understand your own value before she ever gets the chance to take you for granted. A man who respects himself doesn't need a woman to leave and come back just to prove his worth. He already knows it. So instead of hoping she sees what she lost, focus on being the man who never lets himself be an option in the first place. And here's the brutal truth. If a woman only appreciates you when you're gone, then she never really deserved you in the first place. 7. She wants you back, but won't admit it. When a woman starts feeling your absence, when the memories creep in, and the reality of losing you sets in, there comes a point where she actually wants you back. But pride won't let her say it. She doesn't want to be the one who admits she made a mistake. She doesn't want to be the one chasing. At first, she convinces herself she's just being nostalgic. She'll tell herself it's just a passing thought, that she's only wondering about you because she's bored, or because she saw something that reminded her of you. But as time goes on, those thoughts don't fade. Instead, they get stronger. She starts noticing the void your absence left in her life. The attention she took for granted, the effort she never fully appreciated, it's all gone, and she feels it more than she expected. But instead of reaching out directly, she tests the waters in subtle ways. She might post something on social media that she knows you'll see, hoping you take the bait. Maybe she suddenly watches your stories, likes an old post, or even texts you something casual, just to see if you'll make it easy for her. She wants a reaction, but she won't make it obvious. This is where most men fail. The moment they sense a woman's interest returning, they jump at the opportunity, thinking it means she's ready to fix things. But if she really wanted to be with you, she wouldn't play games. She would say it directly. If she's only hinting, only throwing out breadcrumbs, then she's not fully invested. She just wants to know if she still has a hold on you. This is why it's so important for men to stay disciplined. If you walk away and she starts to feel the loss, don't ruin it by running back the second she shows a hint of regret. If she truly values you, she will make it clear. She won't just test your reaction, she'll take real action. And if she doesn't, then she didn't actually want you back. She just wanted to feed her ego. A woman's pride is strong, and sometimes she'll let it stop her from admitting what she really wants. But a man who knows his worth won't play into that. He won't entertain half-hearted attempts or settle for mixed signals. He understands that if she really wants him, she won't leave room for doubt. If there's one brutal truth men need to accept, it's this. A woman's love is conditional. It's not based on who you are deep down. It's based on what you provide emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even socially. The moment you stop stimulating her, the moment she no longer sees value in what you bring, she won't hesitate to move on. That's why your absence can either be your greatest weapon or your biggest downfall. If you left no impact, she feels nothing. But if you played your cards right, she will feel it, deeply. The harsh reality is that most women only realize what they had when it's no longer available to them. Not because they were blind, but because they never thought they'd lose it. That's why a man who respects himself never waits for a woman to recognize his worth. He already knows it. And if she sees it too late, that's her loss, not his problem. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever walked away from a woman and watched her come crawling back? Or have you been in a situation where she didn't even notice you were gone? Drop your experiences in the comments and I'll be reading them. Let's build something real here. Real conversations, real lessons, and a real brotherhood of men who refuse to be taken for granted. If you're serious about mastering the dating game, don't miss out on my exclusive online course. We go beyond what's covered in these videos, giving you powerful insights from the first approach to lasting attraction. Only 5 discounted slots remain, and it's easy to enroll with secure payment options. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or simply click the link in the description to secure your spot. Don't wait until it's too late. Take action now and start transforming your dating life today.